Send me an invite to your Nvidia earnings watch party. The first invite I get, I will try to show up and bring a 12-pack of Celsius, or at the bare minimum, show up on Zoom to say hello and give you some great analysis. Ahead of this fun, I am locked in on an aggressive call out of Citi today on Nvidia. Analyst Atif Malik is looking for $1.4 billion in revenue upside in the quarter versus Wall Street estimates. He sees $2 billion in sales upside for the July-ended quarter. Another way of looking at this is that Malik expects very strong guidance out of Nvidia. I don't think he's alone. Let's take all things Nvidia to the opening bid at Roundtable. Art Hogan, Brooke De Palma, and Inez Ferre. Art, this quarter from Nvidia has to nail in a big way.
Yeah, very little chance that it won't too, Brian. I think that when you look at the estimates, they're probably conservative. NVIDIA, it's probably estimated to have 53% revenue growth. It probably gets closer to 60. Remember, they're running at 71% gross margins and still trades below 25 times as compared to the SOX, which is trading at 35 times. So I think of the semiconductors which have been on a tear, NVIDIA is the value proposition in the bunch.
Or why do you think we've seen that decoupling? I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo the advance in Nvidia. I mean, the stock has gained. It's done its Nvidia thing. But we've seen really the SOX break out here. I think the SOX is up 70% year to date.
Yeah, because they make GPUs, and everyone wants to buy the CPU makers and the DRAM makers. So it's the simple memory makers like Micron and SanDisk and the rest of the semi-cap equipment companies. So that's the flavor du jour, while the demand for the higher margin business, which is what NVIDIA has not slowed down at all. And we've already heard from the hyperscalers about how much more they have to spend. And NVIDIA is using its cash to actually make itself much more a part of the AI infrastructure. So I think every day we learn something better about NVIDIA, and right now it's just not the flavor of the day, and the rest of the simple CPU makers are.
Yeah, and this has been the year of Intel, and that stock has gone absolutely bonkers as I think investors realize we need CPUs. But look, I mean, what else don't we know about NVIDIA? We got all the hyperscaler numbers and their increases a couple weeks ago when they reported earnings. I'm trying to think of, and Jensen's been out there on the media circuit doing a lot of interviews. Just saw him at Milken last week taking photos with the likes of a friend of the show, Dan Ives. Like, what else don't we know out of NVIDIA that could get the stock rocking?
Well, look, to Art's point, I mean, they are investing in all the right places. They also announced their own CPU that's going to be competing with Intel and AMD's. They also have a partnership with Corning, and that's in the optics industry because optics is another bottleneck of the AI trade. So they are certainly investing in all the touch points of the AI trade. And it'll be interesting to hear the commentary from Jensen Huang about these bottlenecks and about the growth going forward. If you take a look at what the street is expecting, I mean, the street has 76 buy recommendations on this stock still, 76.
That's it? That's it, Inez? No, that's 76. Why not 176?
Well, it's the amount of analysts that Bloomberg is tracking.
Well done, Inez. Well done.
271 for the consensus or the price target, the average price target. So you still have room to go here with the stock. Thanks for
rolling with my absurdity, Inez. But look, Brooke, I mentioned the SOX index. That thing has been on absolute fire. Every day I come into this office and some of the most visited ticker pages on our platform. Right now it's Micron, SanDisk, and Intel. And I'm not used to seeing that because it's usually always NVIDIA, NVIDIA, NVIDIA.
Really over the past 6 weeks as we've seen this return of momentum to the AI trade, and we've seen it sort of spread out. I know Micron was up about 7% during the trading day just yesterday on Monday. And it really just goes to show that consumers, or investors rather, are really diversifying, taking a good look at where else they can get into this market. And I think that will be the story moving into the end of the year. I also thought it was interesting just thinking of maybe how this company is going to play into other demand-driven industries as well. I was reading a note from Gene Munster this morning, and he was saying that he's looking forward to hearing maybe non-hyperscaler demand, that maybe he's interested in how the company is diversifying even further. And also, Brian, you can't help but have the conversation on their relationship with China, what that's going to mean. I know that President Trump meeting with Xi Jinping, at that summit coming up, they say that AI is not going to be discussed. It doesn't seem like Jensen Huang got that invite, but I'm curious to
concern. Yes, chips are bouncing back today, KG, but investors are being very selective about which ones. Now, I don't know if it's a bit specious to assume that this has got to do with Jensen Huang managing to get on Air Force One to China, because Nvidia had been hitting a record high even when he wasn't going to Beijing. I don't know how much of it has to do with the Samsung negotiations failing as well overnight and whether that's giving a lift to Micron, but just walk us through, because, I mean, to me, it could be just a case of classic buy the dip off the back of what we saw yesterday.
I would think it's yeah, I think it's a lot of those components that you just brought up. I think it's the buy the dip mentality for the stocks. We did see a pullback yesterday, but if you're looking at this 1 year daily chart that we have, you can look at yesterday. We kind of had a pretty decent wick off the lows here, so buyers did step in, and we are trying to see a little bit of follow through back to the upside here, and we are still remaining within this very narrow channel. But the channel is in a bullish formation. We're making higher highs, making higher lows, and until we break that formation, I think that's probably where the price direction wants to go. Now, you get a little bit concerned if you're a technician, you start looking at that RSI making lower highs. You could say that that is a bearish divergence that's pretty much been in place since the middle of April. But that doesn't mean that you have to sell immediately. It's just a cautionary note to say, yes, semis are moving higher, but they're moving higher at a less aggressive rate than what we have seen in the past. And that's really what RSI is signifying here. But that MACD is still in a bullish formation, 12 EMA above the 26, hinging here a little bit, but it's keeping its primary trend to the upside. I think Nvidia is also a catch-up trade, Sam. It has not been able to participate as aggressively as some of these other names. But, high bandwidth memory has been the theme. GPUs, for the most part, has not really been the theme, but now we have Nvidia starting to break out, and I think that's once again a catch-up trade, a basing out of 7 months, 8 months or so that is now trying to catch up. You can make the case that Nvidia can go to 250, 260 here, especially on a good earnings announcement. So not only Jensen Huang going into China, but I think it's a catch-up trade, and I think this is one of those areas where you still look for quality in this market. And yes, some of these semiconductors have been moving very aggressively, but their multiples have actually been moving lower as they continue to report earnings. So you can still see perceived value there, at least for now. And if we continue to hold this up, that's going to keep equities, for the most part.
Nvidia's stock rose on Wednesday, extending gains for a sixth straight session and hitting yet another all-time high. The stock reached a new record high of $227.16 after rising by about 2%. The market capitalization of the corporation is over $5.4 trillion. Prior to high-level U.S.-China negotiations in Beijing, investors became increasingly bullish about the company's prospects in China. Following yet another hotter-than-expected inflation report that drove Treasury rates to 10-month highs, the surge occurred while broader markets faltered. The S&P 500 dropped 0.1%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 0.4%. Strength in semiconductor stocks helped the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite to a tiny 0.1% rise. Jensen Huang is a member of Trump's group to China. Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, attracted a lot of interest from investors after it was revealed that he had traveled to China with U.S. President Donald Trump. The news came after earlier rumors in the media that Huang had not received an invitation to join the trip. In a subsequent social media tweet, Trump refuted the claims, claiming Huang was already on Air Force One. Despite years of growing U.S. export restrictions, China continues to be one of the world's major prospective markets for artificial intelligence infrastructure, making the visit especially significant for Nvidia. Over the past 4 years, sales of Nvidia's cutting-edge AI chips to China have been subject to increasingly stringent regulations. In order to satisfy U.S. export laws while still catering to Chinese consumers, the business has created customized versions of its CPUs, such as the H200 chip. Investors are now keeping a close eye on whether Trump's meetings with Chinese President Xi Jinping will help diffuse tensions enough to allow Nvidia's H200 processors to be sold more widely in China. Chinese companies might buy about 1.5 million H200 chips, which would bring in about $30 billion for Nvidia, according to KeyBank analyst John Vin. According to reports, Nvidia has consented to provide the U.S. government a quarter of those sales proceeds under the proposed arrangement. Although Nvidia has not revealed specific market-related revenue projections, Huang had previously stated that the company has resumed production of H200 chips for China early this year and had already received client orders. Despite Beijing's increasing efforts to lessen reliance on foreign AI gear through domestic chip makers and models like DeepSeek, China continues to be strategically significant for Nvidia. According to recent media reports, Nvidia continues to dominate the global graphics processing unit market, while Chinese companies have found it difficult to sustain the momentum of AI development under current chip constraints. Analysts became more optimistic. Given the sustained high demand for AI infrastructure worldwide, Wall Street has become increasingly enthusiastic about Nvidia's long-term prospects. While keeping a buy rating, BofA Securities increased its price objective for Nvidia from $300 to $320. Citing consistent growth in the demand for AI computing and Nvidia's wide range of products across various AI workloads, the company raised its sales and earnings projections for fiscal 2028 and 2029 by 7%. According to BofA, Nvidia is still its top sector choice and is in a unique position to profit from the continuous growth in global spending on AI infrastructure. When Nvidia releases its fiscal first quarter earnings on Wednesday of next week, everyone will be watching. With a market capitalization of more than $5.5 trillion, the Jensen Huang-led corporation is still the most valuable in the world, and its stock has increased by an additional 75% in the last year. Some on Wall Street think Nvidia's upward story is far from over, even after that run. Among them is Christopher Rowland, a Susquehanna analyst who is regarded in the top 1% on Wall Street. He contends that Nvidia still has one of the largest opportunity sets ahead, and makes a strong argument that the stock is still cheap going into results. Rowland has therefore increased his price target for NVDA from $250 to $275, indicating that the stock will rise by 21% over the course of the upcoming year. The data center segment, which accounts for over 90% of revenue, and where AI demand is still supported by steadily increasing hyperscaler CapEx plans, will undoubtedly be the primary focus of the earnings report. In contrast to earlier street projections of 62% year-over-year increase, the top 5 hyperscalers are now expected to nearly double their capital expenditures in 2026. In the meantime, GTC CEO Huang revised the company's forecast from around $500 billion for 2025 and 2026 to more than $1 trillion in combined Blackwell and Rubin revenue through the year 2027. Furthermore, as this aim does not take into consideration upcoming platforms like the Grok LPX rack, Vera CPU rack, storage rack, and others, Nvidia is suggesting possible further upside. Consequently, Rowland has increased his DC calculations and now projects Blackwell Rubin revenue of about $1 trillion through CY 2027, up from his earlier estimate of $940 billion. Although this includes Hopper revenue, Rowland points out that street forecasts call for approximately $995 billion in total DC revenue for 2025 to 2027, indicating further upside potential through 2027. Regarding the roadmap, the first client samples will be supplied in late February, and Rubin is still scheduled to launch in the second half of 2026. Huang recently stated that export restrictions have essentially lowered Nvidia's market share in China to 0%. As a result, Rowland continues to exclude the region's revenue contribution from his model. However, Huang's unexpected decision to accompany President Trump on his high-profile visit to China this week has sparked conjecture that U.S.-China semiconductor restrictions may eventually loosen, possibly reopening a portion of the Chinese AI market to Nvidia. This could prove to be an overly conservative assumption. In other areas, sovereign AI's income in FY26 exceeded the previous goal of over $20 billion, coming in at almost $30 billion. The company believes that this market will grow in the future, at least in proportion to its AI opportunity. With a high attach rate to NVL72 and robust demand across NVLink, InfiniBand, and Ethernet, DC networking had an outstanding fourth quarter. As the larger GB300 complete networking ecosystem continues to ramp, Rowland expects further expansion in this area. The 5-star analyst anticipates gross margins for April to be roughly in line with consensus, aside from sales. Rowland sees some pressure developing in the second half as the initial Rubin rollout gets underway, even if management is actively working to maintain gross margins in the mid-70% range for the year. That's Susquehanna's perspective, but what does the rest of the street think about Nvidia's future? Naturally, the stock boasts a strong buy consensus rating with a whopping 40 buys versus 1 hold and sell, respectively. The average price estimate of $277.23, which accounts for a 22% rise over a year, is very similar to Rowland's goal. Jensen Huang was a last-minute addition to President Trump's group in Beijing on Tuesday, reopening $50 billion in China AI chip prospects. In the last 48 hours, at least 5 Wall Street companies have increased or reaffirmed their price forecasts for Nvidia. On May 20th, earnings are released. However, beneath the rally, the Chaikin money flow is conveying a more subdued, cautious warning. On May 6, 2026, the Nvidia stock chart broke out of a bull flag and pole pattern. Throughout April and the first part of May, the pole increased by 31.92%, and the flag resolved higher with significant volume on the breakout candle. Since May 6th, every session has ended in a green. With $267 as the conventional objective, the measured move predicts a 32% rise from the breakout zone. In the last 48 hours, the fundamental catalysts have accumulated. On May 12th, Jensen Huang was a last-minute addition to President Trump's delegation traveling to Beijing. After the Nvidia CEO was first left off of the executive list, Trump personally called Huang, and Huang traveled to Alaska to join Air Force One. Beijing has been advocating for more access to Nvidia's H200 AI chips, which Huang estimates have a $50 billion market. Wall Street has strengthened the arrangement, citing a $1.7 trillion total addressable market for 2030 AI data centers. Vivek Arya of Bank of America increased the company's Nvidia price objective from $300 to $320 on May 13th. Using a new gigawatt capacity model, Wells Fargo's Aaron Rakers increased to $350 from $265 on May 12th. Christopher Rowland of Susquehanna increased to $275 from $250, in line with the previously mentioned chart projections. Citi reaffirmed $300. $265 was reiterated by Oppenheimer. With earnings due on May 20th, the price of Nvidia's stock is somewhere between the target and the breakout zone. The institutional flow data contains the subsequent signal. The price of Nvidia's stock is currently trading at $226, close to $227, which is the 0.618 fib zone of the recent range. The structural pivot is at the 0.618 level. The textbook pattern goal at $267, $235, and $247 are opened by a daily closing above $227. Beyond that, Susquehanna's price objective is in line with the 1.618 extension at $279. At $332, the 2.618 extension is somewhat higher than Bank of America's $320 goal. The lower tiers are also important. Support stacks at $207 and $214. The breakthrough structure would be weakened with a daily closure below $207. At $194, the zero Fibonacci anchor, there is a deeper invalidation. The overall bullish structure would be weakened by a break below $194. The path to $267 remains open, and the analyst price ladder becomes visible with a daily closure over $227. A closure below $207 puts the CMF divergence in charge and raises the possibility of a deeper consolidation toward $194. Earnings on May 20th will probably break the tie.